as of today, Ruben Amorim is officially the coach of Manchester United, but he's still got a lot of work to do before his first game. And we're going to take a look today at 3 more players who could thrive under Amorim's system. We did this video last time with 3 different names and 1 very out there name. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you check that out before you check this one out. These ones are going to be 3 more options that I think could really thrive under Amorim's system for a bunch of different reasons. Some of them, to be fair, are thriving already. Some of them are not. Some of them, have great potential, but just haven't been able to get it under Erik ten Hag. Or, so far, Ruud van Nistelrooy, there we go. I know Ruud van Nistelrooy's only had a few games. Who knows if he'll stay under Ruben Amorim? Could be a thing. So yeah, today's video is going to be 3 more players who can thrive under Ruben Amorim. In at number 1, I'm going to go with Mazraoui. So I think he's actually been very good for Man United this year. I think he's probably been one of the most consistent players that they've had. Maybe, that in itself is not the best thing, but I've been really impressed with Mazraoui. One thing I think Ruben Amorim will love about him is his versatility, playing on the right or the left. I feel like that will come really much in handy for Amorim, and as his wing-back systems, I think Mazraoui will thrive in sort of being tucked into that midfielder role as well if necessary, but also going forward, Mazraoui looks pretty good as well. I feel like Amorim has a place for him in his system, and I think he's looked really good under Manchester United so far, and for the price they bought him for as well. The fact they got him from 15 million from Bayern Munich was a steal in itself. A player of that calibre to come in at that cheap is really good, and I think he's hit the ground running at Manchester United. I feel like he's only going to improve as time goes on as well. Of course, he was a player that Ten Hag knew from Ajax, but I think Ruben Amorim will cater more to Mazraoui, and Mazraoui will cater more to his system as well. And he could see similar success of what Pedro Porro had at Sporting as well. I'm not saying they're comparable players or anything, but in terms of going forward and being sort of defensive maestro in that aspect as well, I've been really impressed with Mazraoui. I think Amorim's going to come in and see he's going to be a player to be one of the ones that are first in the team sheet. I think Dalot can be in that role as well. So for one, you could either have Mazraoui or Dalot. I feel like both of them are pretty much locked for Ruben Amorim's team. Don't know which either side they can play off, because they both are quite versatile as well. And of course, Dalot being Portuguese might help him. But I think Mazraoui has been better than Dalot this season. Dalot last season I thought was incredible as well. But sort of fallen off a bit this season. The season's still early, it's only November to be fair. But I think you could make the same case for Dalot as well. Dalot, like I said, was very good last year for Man United. He's good attacking as well as defensively. You could argue his miss, though, did cost Erik ten Hag his job. So maybe under Amorim, he'll be a bit more calm and collective in that situation. Like I said, Dalot being a countryman probably will help him as well. And I do think Dalot and Mazraoui have age on their side as well. They're not going to be players that are looked to move on due to their high wage, due to their age. So I think they definitely got a big future under Amorim with this project that should last maybe 3 or 4 years under Amorim to try and get them back to the big time. I look at those two, Dalot and Mazraoui, to be sort of the cornerstones of that wing-back role. I don't know if he'll go in the market maybe to get a left-sided winger, because both of them could play on the left side, of course, but they're not naturally there. They're both naturally right-backs. So you could make the argument maybe for Mazraoui or Dalot starting at right-back, and maybe in the summer, or left-back, and in the summer maybe Amorim goes to get a better left-back. I know there's been some rumours of right-backs and left-backs coming in. But I think Amorim, the good thing about him, he'll give everyone a chance to prove themselves, especially at this stage of the rebuild, if you can call it a stage of a rebuild at this moment. Maybe it's just, this season is a write-off, and in the summer it's where it kicks off properly. But I think Amorim's going to have a lot of room to experiment. Maybe Mazraoui could even be on that maybe right-sided centre-back. Maybe Dalot could as well. Maybe that's what he does. He's done that a few times with guys like Ricardo Esgaio at Sporting. Mateus Reis was a natural left-back who then became a centre-back. So maybe that's something he looks at as well. Maybe Mazraoui or Dalot becomes a centre-back as well. They're both pretty versatile on the pitch as well, so that would definitely help out. But I look at Mazraoui. Couldn't include Dalot in there, but I'm going to include Mazraoui as number 1 just due to his form this season. I've been impressed with him. Everyone was saying, he's an injury-prone player. He's not going to do well for Manchester United. I remember that was at the time of when he joined. I think he was linked to West Ham at one point as well. Chose United, and United chose him as well. And I think it's been successful so far. Obviously, Man United haven't been great this season, but I think Mazraoui's been a sort of good point in a low season. But of course, Man United expect better, and they should, and Amorim probably expect better as well. I'm sure Mazraoui expects better of himself as well. I'll be interested to see what he does, if it's going to be Dalot on that right side and Mazraoui on the left, or maybe it's, like I said, a right-sided centre-back. Maybe with Lenny Yoro coming back, you do Yoro, Martinez, and maybe Dallo, or you put De Ligt in there. Who knows? I don't know if Amorim will go for someone like De Ligt, or like I said last video, Harry Maguire, something like that. I don't know. But like I said, I think he'll give everyone a chance to prove themselves, and he'll give everyone a chance to improve as well. But yeah, first pick, Mazraoui. Number 2 is going to be the player that I think will probably have the most impact under Ruben Amorim, and is a bit of a streaky player, I would say. But he's one of my favourite Man United players to watch, and that is Alejandro Garnacho. Again, last season I thought he was great. Some of the goals he scored are fantastic. On just finished the Man United game actually, and he scored a banger as well. So I think definitely that could. The way I see Garnacho is similar to the way I saw Pablo Sarabia and Trincao at Sporting. And if you aren't aware, that Amorim's use of the wingers sort of more of inside forwards, and Trincao, Sarabia, Edwards, these guys, Pedro Gonçalves, even Nuno Santos has played on the wingers there, Jenny as well. They all contribute directly to offense, not from just running down the wings and crossing in. They're cutting inside, they're scoring, and I think Garnacho is perfectly suited to that. He'll definitely be one of the wingers that I think Amorim will put in his team sheet as one of the first ones. People have mentioned as well, maybe he could be in the wing-back role. I personally don't think Garnacho is ready for that yet, but I can see maybe he going in that role as well. But I think for now, just the way that Garnacho is playing and the goals he scored, I think he should be starting as a winger in that formation. I think this is one of the biggest question marks in sort of Ruben Amorim's new system that he's going to implement at Man United, and what formation he's going to go. I did suggest last video that he could do a 3-5-2 and sort of pack the midfield in. You have like Ugarte and Mine, who is a pivot, and then Bruno Fernandes in front. You can have sort of Garnacho or Diallo on either wing, or another winger there, Garnacho and Rashford, and then Højlund and Xerxes, or Rashford and Xerxes. It could really go any way. I'm really curious to see what he will go with his first Man United game, because that will give us a good indicator of what he's going to go for. But someone like Garnacho, South American flair, very good player, highly rated, I think. Like I said, a bit of a streaky player. I think he goes through confidence issues sometimes, and that affects his game. I saw the video of the guy when he was signing the autographs, just being a bit mean to him, to be fair. And I know, people say, footballers earn lots of money, they can take criticism, but just unnecessary, I think. And he answered those doubters and answered that guy by scoring. So, the best way to shut up your haters is to continue playing well. And I think Amorim will protect him in that way as well. Amorim is known to be a protector of the squad. He never throws players under the bus. He'll always defend them. That's what he was at Sporting. Even if, for example, Dan making mistakes in the Champions League against Marseille, where he pretty much cost us the game, he never once blamed him. He blamed himself. He will never throw a player under the bus. And I think that is what Man United do need a little bit. I think they do need protection from the media. In my opinion, looking from the outside inwards, I think that the press to Man United are a bit more, harsh on Man United players than I think any other team in the league. I think, the press are more likely to go after them than go after anyone else. And I think the pundits and the journalists are the same. Manchester United are sort of an easy target in that aspect, I would say. And I think players like Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, Højlund, Harry Maguire, of course, suffered from that greatly, and it was unfair to them. But I think Amorim will be good at protecting these players. But in terms of just overall play, I think Garnacho is fantastic. He's someone that he could build for the future around as well. He's only young, and if he's this good now, the only way is up for him. And you can make a case for some of those players at Manchester United, but I don't think anyone has proven as much as Garnacho has. Obviously, Rashford at that age as well was fantastic as well, but he's getting on a bit now, and he hasn't really shown that much at Man United. But of course, that was under Erik ten Hag. Maybe Ruben Amorim gives him a go. Like I said, I think everyone will be given their fair share. But when I look at Garnacho, I think of someone who's blistering pace, great finishing, and I think he just needs confidence. And I think winning breeds confidence, of course. So if they can get some wins under the belt, that would help. But Amorim will sort of take him under his wing, hopefully. And hopefully we'll see sort of the same, metrics that we saw with Pablo Sarabia at Sporting and Trincao last season, this season. Of course, Pedro Gonçalves being ever consistent for Sporting as well. And guys like Marcus Edwards as well. Maybe to not the level of the other three, but definitely great players nonetheless. And Amorim does love his wingers, and I think Garnacho will fit that inside forward role very well. I'll be interested to see, like I said, what formation he plays with. If he plays with Bruno on the wing maybe, or Bruno in behind the striker in that 3-5-2 formation like I mentioned. But I definitely think Garnacho has a place in this team. I think he'll definitely be on one of the starters in this team. Amorim will protect him, and I think Amorim would be impressed with him as well, just because what he offers to the team, what he offers to the attack as well. Like I said, I thought last year he was great. I can't remember if it was last year he scored that bicycle kick, or maybe it was the year before. And of course, last year Garnacho scoring the goal in the FA Cup final. Big game player he seems like, and I think Ruben Amorim loves those big game players as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I think Garnacho will thrive under Ruben Amorim. I don't know if that will be as a winger, as a wing back. People have said that before. I don't know. But I think Amorim will be impressed with Garnacho nonetheless. And I think the only way is up for Garnacho. So yeah, number 2 is going to be Garnacho for me. So before I get into number 3, we are 50 subscribers away from 1,000. I would appreciate any love and support. If you're new here, please subscribe. It will mean the world to me if we can get to 1,000. I originally set a goal by the end of December. It is currently the 10th of November. So I'm hoping that maybe we could get 1,000 by the end of November. Maybe that's a bit pushing it a bit. But, you know, the support has been amazing, just in terms of views. The channel views over the last 28 days, 48,000 views, 4,600 hours of watch time. I've got plus 700 subscribers just in the last 2 months alone. In the last month alone. So that is absolutely crazy. If I could just get 50 more, I would be eternally grateful, as I always say. So yeah, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already for more sort of Amorim highlights. And, you know, I will start talking more about Sporting and the league as time goes on. But yeah, as of now, Amorim's in the news, and it obviously hasn't started his first game with United yet. So I think it's definitely, this can be the basis until then. Let me know what content you want to see as well. Do you want to see like more of who will succeed, more who wouldn't, more tactical analysis, stories about Ruben Amorim, or success stories about Ruben Amorim? Please let me know. But number 3, give me Rasmus Højlund. Now, a lot has been said about Rasmus Højlund, and I think his price tag is a big issue. I think, you know, sometimes price tags can weigh heavy on these types of players, especially young ones. And we've seen it quite a few times over the last few years of players who are young and supposed to have, you know, I think the key word in football has always been potential. And potential is always a good thing, but, you know, that's just what it is. It could happen. That's what potential is. You know, if everything goes right, he will be fantastic. But so far, you know, everything hasn't gone to plan. Of course, that was under Erik ten Hag. So I think maybe Amorim can improve Højlund. And I think Højlund does need a change of scenery in terms of Man United. And I think Amorim could be the guy just to do that. So if we're sticking with the 3-4-3 system, for me, that should benefit Højlund by positioning him as the central striker, sort of what Victor Gyökeres has been in this current Sporting team, or even a few years back as someone like Paulinho, who sort of, you know, has the goal scoring attributes in a setup that also encourages quick transitions, high pressing as well. And of course, Højlund is quite quick as well. So that would be great. One thing Amorim loves in a striker is being able to press. And that is why Paulinho, the shirt to my left here, was such a fan favourite and favourite of Ruben Amorim, even though he didn't score a lot of goals. If you look at Paulinho's games to goals record, it is pretty poor. But one thing you could say about Paulinho is that he always worked hard. And a lot of Sporting fans saw that, and that's why they were sort of willing to forgive the bad goal scoring contributions, because he gave his heart and his soul pretty much every time he put on the Sporting shirt. And I think that's what Højlund needs to do. As long as he works hard, I think he'll be able to win over the fans and win over Ruben Amorim. And I think being in that 3-4-3 system will help leverage that. I think Højlund being good in channels also helps as well, because of course Ruben Amorim's wing-backs help with the space across the pitch, and it has shown with Gyökeres and guys like Kenda, Nuno Santos, Jenny, providing that space for Gyökeres to exploit. And I think that's what Højlund is going to do to exploit as well. I do think he needs to work on his finishing a bit, but in terms of his playing style with his running and movement into channels, I think Højlund will do well. Of course, that is a lot of responsibility on the fullbacks. As I mentioned, Dalot and Mazraoui, if it's going to be them two, or maybe if you look further back, maybe Garnacho or someone like that, or, you know, on the wingers as well, Diallo. But I think Højlund, people say Højlund resembles Gyökeres, and I can see it. I guess they're both, you know, from the Nordics, and they both sort of look similar build. Of course, Gyökeres is like maybe 5 years, 6 years his senior. But I think, you know, with time, I think Højlund can be to the level of Gyökeres. And people say, you know what, Gyökeres plays in the Portuguese league, blah, 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 you know. But he's proven it on the big stages, and I don't think we can say the same for Højlund, unfortunately. Like I mentioned, Amorim's teams excel in sort of pressing and quick movements and pressing high at the pitch. You see they have a very high line all the time. And that strategy, I believe, gives plays to Højlund's strengths as well. Like I said, his physical profile, his speed, his athleticism, those are Højlund's strengths, and I think that makes him ideal, especially on the counter-attack for Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim loves a counter-attack. You saw it a lot against Man City. The quick transitions, the quick styles, that is what Amorim does, and I think that's what Højlund is going to be able to do. And I think Højlund should excel in that situation. Of course, there's still a lot of pressure on him from that price tag. And like I said, I think it's the same with Garnacho. A lot of these players just need confidence. And I think you can even look further back to, Harry Maguire as well. What he was doing for England and what he was doing for Man United, it was like two completely different